1.
Coming to you live from deep within a windy and somewhat leafy radioactive wasteland, we're the survivors of the alt-right Keck apocalypse. The few, the brave, the bitchy, once more wading into battle against the feminist, bear, zombie, lobster, Kecky hordes with Rantzerker number, I will never remember the number.
221.
Have women learned anything from the man versus bear meme? Doubtful. Very doubtful.
Man versus bear. Okay, why did you bring me here?
Because I wanted to get you. Because you have the wisdom.
Okay. See, hear that? You hear that?
She is also. Kevin is also delivering her wisdom.
Yeah, no, and she's just like, yeah, no, fuck this shit. I'm done with this. I'm already done. I haven't seen a word, but I'm already done. Oh, there
is
she
Kevin
is.
up there? Wow, I've never seen that before.
No, she always lies on the back of the couch. I was trying to get her up there so she'd shut up, and she was just like, no, I'm gonna walk around and woo.
That is a substantial dog. It's a 60-pound dog that you have there.
Yeah, no, she jumps up behind me and she lies on the couch cushion behind me. So
it's sort of like a twofer, except we can't see your dog at all behind you because you're in front of it.
You can see her butt. There she is.
Ah, yes, very nice dog butt. All right, so back to the topic that just keeps getting resurrected. Okay, so this comes up over and over and over again now. It's become part of the lexicon. Whenever a woman starts losing an argument, well, I would choose the bear because the bear would, of course, let her win the argument. Or I mean, not all women, but just women who get into this playing the victim. And we just did this woman in a previous request where she covered traditional women are going to put regular women in chains, basically was her thesis of the previous one.
You know, one might say that I am in chains.
On occasion.
Okay, get your mind out of the gutter, Brian.
Sorry.
You know, like I don't earn my own income. So I'm kind of, you know, stuck with the man that I'm with, and you know, like, and I look after him and he looks after me and all of that, and you could say that that's chains. You know what, they're really comfy,
the chains.
Yeah, no, they really are. I mean, like, the moment that he managed to get work in his field, right, because for like almost 2 years I was earning the larger income and supporting him and my kids, and then, you know, he started earning, and the moment he started earning, I started cutting my hours. I started cutting my hours at work, and then eventually it was just like my boss was, you know, and I was doing traveling and stuff for like to do conferences and speeches and things like that, and you know, booking time off and things, right? And eventually my boss phoned me and she said, if you get a pink slip in the mail, I didn't do it. Right? That would have come from corporate. And it's just because, like, I only just noticed that I haven't had you on the schedule for 3 weeks. And yeah, and they, you know, like, they let it go for about 21 days. And then if you're not on the schedule anymore, they send you an ROE. And I was like, I won't be upset. Maybe just don't put me on the schedule anymore. And I was just like, yeah, no, I'm cool with this. This is a really nice life. I'm not saying that it isn't work. It is work, right? But especially because my man is high maintenance, not in ways that, you know, like, not in terms of things that would be considered like inappropriate or upsetting or, you know, like exploitative, but he is high maintenance in terms of, you know, his extremely restricted diet and his health needs and things like that, right? And as long as I keep him healthy, he can keep earning, and we have a symbiotic relationship, and we're chained to each other. And yeah, so it's like, give me those chains. I'll take the chains.
Yeah, you
right?
prefer the chains to the work. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
because the work was chains and they weren't comfy, right? They weren't nice. I didn't get love from work. I didn't get affection from work. I didn't get devotion from work. I didn't get any of those things from work. I certainly didn't get to spend time, as much time as I wanted with my family and my idiot dogs. Okay, can you stop wooing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that is the point. Like, everything is chains, but apparently being chained to someone who you share an intimate relationship with is far more fraught with danger than being chained to someone who exploits you for labor in the capitalist hellscape.
I know. And these are the feminists who are like, capitalism is, you know, the devil.
Know.
Right?
And yeah, we went through that, but this woman is now on a different topic. I think this is a topic she did a couple months ago.
Oh, like my husband is more dangerous than a bear.
Yeah. And so why don't we just, well, you know what? First, before we get into it, if you have any commentary to make throughout the show, if you're listening to me, please go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Send us a tip, send us a comment. Very best way to send us a tip, and very best way for you to get your comment to us, because we can keep it, you know, it doesn't disappear like the comments do everywhere else. And you don't have to send your comment through YouTube's comment enhancement system, which is a euphemism for censorship. So feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And we are still doing our fundraiser for the event that we're putting on September 28th. And if you would like to help out, or you'd like to get more details on that, please go to feedthebadger.com/events. And this is a request from the very illustrious Richard Beer, who loves to give us stuff that makes me make angry Alison noises. I think in particular. All right, let's go to the first.
Thanks, Richard.
You got those time codes ready?
I do. I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 time codes, but we're gonna start. I know we're gonna do some of them, but let's do the intro first, so that we should get her introduction, so she can set the stage, right? Yeah. So we're gonna do that. Let me just uncheck these.
I'm gonna stretch my stretch a bit while we're listening to this.
Listen to this. Hear everything. It's a minute and 15 seconds long, so we'll play 30 seconds, pause, 30 seconds, pause, 15 seconds, and then respond. Okay?
We don't need to do that. Let's just play the whole thing. Right? Okay. Everybody, listen. Take notes, Karen. Put them on Kevin's butt, and we'll respond to it at the end. And I don't think we're gonna get hit with a copyright strike, because I really. All right.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, let's see. Okay, so she is okay. Let's play it. Remember, she is not just a feminist; she is also a comedian.
Oh boy. So you might have noticed that a lot of people are talking about bears right now. There hasn't been an uptick in interest in nature documentaries, and no, they're not talking about that stressful cooking show featuring the tragic little chef with big sad blue eyes. About a month or so ago, a hypothetical was presented in a street interview and started to be shared around social media. Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
And almost unanimously, women everywhere have answered that they would prefer the bear.
Bear. With a bear. Bear. Probably a bear. Definitely a bear. A bear.
The response to this, of course, has been for men to initiate a thoughtful discussion about the topic.
I never hit a woman violently.
You should expect an encounter with slippery skin soon enough.
No one said anything about serial killers. Nobody said anything about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Would I rather my mom be in the woods with a guy or a creature that would hunt her, jump up, grab her by the face, chomp down, cause her to have to take her thumb, jab it into its eyes?
So, let's talk about it.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's her intro.
Can I
Okay.
just go through the fallacies? It was
Yeah,
not
just-
unanimous. The only majority of women that did say they would prefer the bear is the Generation Z, I believe, or millennials. 52 of which of women who were surveyed, said they would choose the bear if they were millennials. The other generation were probably just like, what the hell are you talking about? So it wasn't a unanimous thing from women. There was a substantial portion of definitely older women who were just like boggling at this nonsense. And then there was
Yeah, are you retarded?
yeah,
Yeah.
are you retarded? And then there was a good portion of millennial women who apparently have not suffered from the what we're finding is a reversal in the IQ pattern. You know, over the last century, 2000, the IQ was going up generation after generation until we hit about 2007. Now the IQ is going down. So those millennial women who haven't been suffering from IQ drain apparently also said,
Brain
"Are you
rot.
retarded?"
Gen Z.
Yeah, Gen Z. No, I think it was millennials. Not. I don't know.
Younger millennials and
Younger
Gen Zers,
millennials. Yeah. Okay. This meme is ridiculous, and the fact that people are getting upset that men are getting upset that they're being dehumanized is insane.
I don't even think that like men are upset. They just think women are retarded. Like they just think it's stupid. Okay, dog, he's gone. He went to work. He's not downstairs. Do you hear him playing guitar? No. Oh.
New meme. Would you want to be stuck in a room with Karen or Karen's dog?
You know, I'm quiet most of the time.
Yeah.
Right? And
No,
she's just like, I can still smell his Old Spice body wash through the vent. He must still
Your
be
musk.
downstairs.
You
Right?
smell your musk.
And I'm like, she's just going to the vent and sniffing it. And then she's like, oh, and then looking at the basement door and howling. And it's like, he's gone. He left.
You saw him leave.
He went out the back door. You heard him go.
I've actually seen the numbers though. It's actually getting terrifying. Like literally millennial women are probably like 5 IQ points lower than their mothers and going down. And that's terrifying. Like, and how do you have a conversation with people who can't even understand these kinds of abstract concepts or anything outside of their own immediate experience?
Well, that's strange. They're so well educated. I don't understand. How could it be?
Yeah, no, it's because we've abandoned education. We abandoned education about 25 years ago, right? And I was at the very, very beginning. I was in elementary school at the very, very beginning of the "we are all smart era of education, and then
no, you aren't.
You know, well, we aren't all smart, but you know, like that whole thing with, you know, like my class was probably the last class that was allowed to fail, like to be held back a grade.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
and it's like, okay. And then after that, they would sit down, you know, for about 20 years after that, they would sit down with the teachers and the parents and discuss whether the kid could possibly be held back, right? A grade. And they also stopped skipping kids forward a grade, even though, but like my kids were really lucky. My kids were really lucky because they were in elementary school It was a very small school. There were only 95 students. It was K-5, and it was almost all split classes, right? So they were actually able to, you're in grade 1, but in a grade 1-2 split class, right? You're able to work ahead of your grade, right? And they all did that. They all took advantage of that. And so, but the education system and all of the teachers were older, right? They were all older. They were all in their 50s at the time, right? So you're looking at this new generation of teachers and this new curriculum that's come down the pike, and they're not teaching anything useful. They're just not. They're not teaching anybody anything useful. They're not teaching kids how to think. They're not teaching kids how to do math. They're not correcting children's spelling, right? And it's just because that would be it would make them feel bad about themselves. And they're not holding any kids back. And so there's just no standards at all. And when there's no standards and nothing pushing these kids to actually achieve, right, to meet standards, then their brains don't develop. Okay, what the fuck is this bitch wearing?
Oh, she puts on a cute bear costume. So this is the thing about this person that really annoys me, is that they are making very serious claims that have very real consequences in a super cutesy way so that we don't take them seriously, but they're saying something really serious. It's I'm not going to say anything else about it, except that she's basically using the bear meme is essentially Nazi propaganda for men. I mean, that's what it is. That's what it is. Okay. And they're just acting well, women are afraid. Yeah, that's your problem. That's not men, Yeah, and I'm not denying that dangerous men exist. Of course they do. They're coming through our southern border. But that's not what this meme is about.
Yeah, no, and I don't honestly, I don't even know whether the internet debate is making men mad. Right? I mean, it's
no, I think that mostly they're just this is retarded.
Yeah, you don't have to be mad to point out something is retarded. Are you fucking lunatic? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, maybe there's some kind of cachet in making men mad.
Well,
you can make a lot of money that way. Yeah.
Well, they can claim that the men are mad, and they certainly seem to like that. Ooh, I really made him mad. Ooh, he's so mad.
It's so funny because if you were afraid, this is something that I posited. Okay, so the internet debate is making men mad. So you guys feel like the women who participated in this disgusting display of demonization, they feel free to antagonize men by their own word. I'm not saying that men were necessarily antagonized, but they are saying they're antagonizing men. You feel free to antagonize men. Okay. Which would you rather do? Would
antagonize a man or antagonize
a bear? Would you rather share a bear versus man meme with a man, or would you rather pelt a bear in the nose with a rock? Because this is supposed. You're saying that this makes men angry. You're deliberately going out and doing something will antagonize men, and you're doing so because there won't be a reprisal.
Yeah, they won't get so mad that they just freaking smash your face.
Yeah, I mean, women are feeling free to share this crap with their significant others. They're feeling free to say it on the street while saying, "Oh yeah, this makes men mad." You're so dangerous to me. Poke you in the eye. Poke you in the eye. Poke you in the eye. You're so dangerous to me. Poke, 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 poke. You're so dangerous. Yeah, right. So one of these things isn't correct. Right? Emotionally, you are not reacting like you're actually afraid of men. If you did, maybe we'd get some silence for once. But no, you don't. You act like you can go up and poke men indefinitely. Poke him in the eye, kick him in the crotch, belt him across the head, and he's going to do nothing. That's what these women are doing. They are they are actually a counterexample to what they're asserting, because they know that men aren't going to do anything. And it's not just saying it anonymously on the internet. They're saying it in public with this guy right there, with men walking past them. And they know that what are the men going to do? Nothing. They're going to put their head down and get back to work. This is so aggravating.
We haven't gotten into the clips yet. We should get into the clips.
The argument.
Oh my God, I see that expression on your face, Brian. We're in for it, aren't we?
Oh, this is nothing. Okay, so it's not anything you haven't heard before. It's the same old arguments. These are 10 years on, we're hearing the same shit. But yeah, get ready. So because she's funny and quirky, guys. Therefore, you're not allowed to get upset. All right, let's play it.
Ooh, it's a random manga panel with barely legible text. I'll be here all week. I'm sure I'm about to read something intellectually stimulating. Remember, it's man or bear, not fist or bear. Hey, quick question, weeb. Who's doing all the assaults then? Because as we've mentioned on this channel before, according to the NSVRC, 1 in 5 women has experienced assault or attempted assault
let her
during
finish
their
it.
lifetime. That's millions of women, and unless they're all being harassed by Diddler Dave, who is skewing the statistics with his incredible efficiency, mathematically speaking, there must be a non-trivial amount of men committing this type of crime. How?
All right, Alison, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, the statistics on conviction skew heavily male, but the entire system is biased against male victims. When you get down to surveys of the last year, we find parity. So it's not just Diddler Dave, it's Diddler Danielle. Almost equally, possibly equally to Diddler Dave. So first of all, the big problem we have is that we don't recognize the sexual abuse of men. And it is substantial. It is a totally unseen epidemic. And even if men want to say that they're okay with it, where is the legal equality here? Right? And why should women be afraid of things that men aren't? Really?
Yeah.
Like, why should we live in fear of something that men don't live in fear of? So this entire thing is a lie. In fact, I have statistics now that millennial women, the very same women who say they would choose a bear over a man, lead the pack when it comes to using weapons to rape, to force other people to have sex with them. They use weapons. Physical violence and weapons, they lead the pack in that. That means they do it more than millennial men. They do it more than previous generations. So this woman is actually part of a group that's the rapiest group in human history. She is the rape. Like, it's astounding. Her entire, the female generation of the millennials, rapiest people that have ever existed. Since we've been keeping track, rapiest people who have ever existed, and they come up with the bear versus man meme because I don't know, because they think that they aren't doing this shit. They think it's justified. Why? What kind of incredible hypocrisy is that? Like, she is more likely to rape someone with a weapon than a man. Her, she. And she has the audacity to beak off about this. And I mean, I used the weapon one because that's unequivocal. Once you bring out a gun or a knife, you know that this isn't an issue of consent. Maybe, touching, fondling them until they're like, okay, hee. That's a gray area. Yeah, weapons are not a gray area. That is 100% rape. She is part of a group that outpaces everyone in terms of sexual violence. And she has the audacity to beak off about this. And it just bakes my noodle.
She doesn't, I can guarantee you she doesn't know.
Yeah, she doesn't care to know.
Yeah, she doesn't care to know. And, she's got her belief system and it's fully in place and it's not going to move. It's not going to budge. You can show her all the statistics you want. And she's not going to change her mind.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Play the next clip.
Well,
All right.
regardless if she doesn't change her mind, reality remains reality. We have the rapiest group of people lecturing one of the least rapey group of people about how awful they are because they rape. It's just, what do you do? Okay.
All right, here we go. Next clip.
You might just make yourself a target, like this minor running a Star Wars meme account who said that she would choose the man and then was immediately overwhelmed by hordes of freaks commenting graphic descriptions of what they would do to her as a reward. Great job, fellas. This
Wait,
is so
what?
dumb.
Are those jokes?
Yeah,
Like,
this
that
was
sounds like
posting.
Yeah, sounds
That
like
might
shit
even be
posting.
her friends.
References. Yeah, this is something that we noticed in the previous one. Apron Gate. You remember that? Like this
Egg
this
apron
woman-
gate. The egg apron
Gate,
lady.
yeah.
Ballerina something. Or Ballerina Ranch.
Yeah,
You know about
she
that,
got-
Karen?
I don't remember.
All
okay,
right.
she received an egg apron from her millionaire husband. And when she pulled it out of the package, she's like, "Oh, you got my egg apron." As in, she most likely dropped hints or outright suggested that this is what she wanted. So he was actually listening to her. So instead of getting some stupid gift that would impress the internet masses or his buds in like the Wall Street pool, he got her what she was insinuating she wanted. There's no way she would have said this, "Oh, you got me my apron," if it wasn't something she had wanted. This woman said that she was watching the light leave her eyes as he chained her to the egg apron of ultimate domestic servility. And I'm like, no. She was thrilled to get it because she has a partner who listens.
Yeah, no, like I literally told my ex one year, right? And like say what you want about him, he wasn't always a peach to live with, right? But I told him, right? He was like, "Well, what do you want for Christmas?" And I said, "I want a Dirt Devil upright vacuum cleaner." Right? I'm sick of using this old freaking Kenmore that's a hand me down from my mom, right?
But my point is,
and he bought one for me, and I went and I made the mistake of telling one of my female friends, he got me for Christmas that Dirt Devil upright. And they were like, "He got you a vacuum cleaner for Christmas?" Right? Like, oh my God. And I was like, I asked for it. Like it was the one thing I wanted. Right? We couldn't afford it. Right? So I basically waited until Christmas knowing that he'd splurge, right? And get it for me. And it's like, and now you're like telling me that he's a bad husband because he did exactly what I asked? Like, I don't understand these freaking, like, you don't have any right to fucking judge, bitch, right?
But she does.
Woman on the screen, right? She doesn't have any right to judge how anybody freaking lives their lives. And, like, frankly, I have to say, if you're going to post something like that, "Oh, you got me my egg apron," right? "Oh my God, I'm so happy," right? Like, don't post that. Don't post that because people like this will be all over it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, and if you don't want to hear about what a horrible, disgusting, chauvinistic, patriarchal pig your husband is for buying you the apron you wanted, right? Then don't share it. Right?
Indeed.
But because that's what you're going to get from this fucking crowd. I've never ever, basically, I've never said to anybody who wasn't complaining, right, about the gifts that they got, I have never said, "Oh my God, like, what kind of like husband do you have?" Right?
She basically does this a lot. She judges because, I don't know, she's trying to maintain the sisterhood. She actually undermines the partners of the women that she calls out. And
Does
again,
does she have like a significant other?
yes, she does. Apparently, according to her, she
She's
does.
dating a guy, according to her, which I'm like, dude, get out of there.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, she should be
run,
choosing the bear.
don't walk, run, and don't look back.
She should be choosing the bear.
Yeah.
I know she should be.
Okay, let's keep going.
All right. Let's play some more. I'm gonna uncheck these boxes here, and we're gonna go back to the source.
If the man is my husband or dad, brother, best friend, he would kill himself protecting you. Not sure what kind of men you guys know. Interesting, irrelevant factoid, Helen. Too bad I don't get to choose your heroic family members and or friends in this scenario. For your information, the kind of men I know are frankly epic, and I love to hang out with them because they laugh at my jokes. But they're also just kind people who are sympathetic and understanding when I bring up women's issues, instead of blowing a blood vessel trying to defend their honor.
I never hit a woman violently.
Wait,
I never put a violent hand on a woman.
So you have pushovers, essentially.
Yeah, no, that's what she has. She's got little weenie men, right? And this guy, right? He's like, I've never put my hand on a woman, right?
You know what's funny about this too? These guys that are responding, a lot of them are black guys, and she doesn't seem to get that. Like,
no, and he's like, I've never put my hand on a woman, right? Well, he's the guy you want to be in the woods with, right? Because probably unlike the soy freaking filled freaks that you hang out with, he'd be able to freaking fight off the bear.
Well, at least would try.
He wouldn't be hiding behind you going, please recite some feminist poetry to make the bear go away.
Let's play some
Give him
more.
A strongly worded feminist freaking polemic.
Let's play the rest of this clip because it's like there's a bit more to it, but I want you guys to see the responses. So here we go. It's like 40 seconds.
Woman, I never assaulted a woman. No, none of that. Ever.
Wow, man, that's super cool. Should we throw a party?
Yeah,
you just accused him of.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you see what's going on here? You see what's going on here? She's saying that if you're a man that would not assault a woman, that doesn't make you special.
Nothing special. That's nothing
but
special.
Also, you are still not the standard. You are not. You are in the minority regardless.
Yeah. That's
Do you see that?
The same thing. Yes, she's essentially negated her own argument, but people lap it up. Like, how is this? Like, this entire discussion that she's presenting is incoherent. If you think about it, it's self-contradictory almost at every point.
Internal consistency is not something you should ask for from feminists.
No. Exactly. Like, if you try to logic this, you're going to hurt yourself. Don't do it. Just understand that these people are evil. They're evil, and they're doing what evil do. So, okay, let's play some more of this. That is evil. It's indefensible.
Mama?
The hypothetical is, would you rather encounter the average adult human male?
Another black guy, by the way.
When you are
the
alone,
average
or
adult
a bear?
human male.
No one said anything about serial killers. Nobody said anything about Jeffrey Dahmer. Stop changing the hypothetical.
Wrong. You were the one changing the hypothetical. The man in the forest could be any man, from the most dangerous, perverted sicko that's ever roamed the streets to a Ned Flanders-esque fatherly figure holding an impossibly delicious mug of hot chocolate. I feel
Alison, are you talking?
And you just said, like Brian said, right? Brian pointed out, very good job, very astute, by the way. You just said that men shouldn't get any kind of recognition because it's what you want to prize
for being good, for
the bare minimum,
for being decent. Yeah.
That's
the bare minimum is being decent, being protective, and being a good human being, right? And that's the bare minimum, and they shouldn't get any cookies for that, okay? Because it's nothing special. It's nothing special. It's the norm. It's the norm. Oh, well, congratulations, you're normal, right? Okay. But
okay, then why wouldn't you want to be with the norm, like if you're going to choose between all men, like that, it's just a random selection. You're most likely going to end up with a man who is part of the norm that you don't want to celebrate because that's the norm, right? You want cookies for just being normal, that kind of thing. So you're going to end up with a guy who is exactly what you don't want to celebrate in men because you think it's a low bar and it's normal, right?
Well, okay, but okay.
All right. Okay, but
he's
okay.
like, okay, so they didn't say anything about psychopaths. They didn't say anything about Jeffrey Dahmer. They didn't say anything about serial killers. They didn't say anything about anything like that, right? They just said a man. And she's saying, oh, well, it's the fucking Skittles argument or the M&M's argument or whatever the fuck it is, right? You got 100 M&M's and like one is poisoned, right? And would kill you. Like, take a handful, right? And I'm like, okay, yes, that is how it works. If I was starving and there was only one thing to eat and it was a big bowl of M&Ms, right? I'd probably try a few. Like, I'm sorry, but and I wouldn't assume that every bowl of M&Ms contains a poisoned M&M. And I certainly wouldn't treat every M&M like it was poisoned.
Are we going into the weeds, Brian?
Generally,
no. I just wanted to. I don't know why it's not switching to me. I just wanted to point out that what essentially is happening is we're like on two ends of a seesaw, and we don't know where the middle of it is. And on her end of the seesaw, she's saying that, oh, these numbers are really high. Therefore, there's a not insignificant number of predatory men that I am afraid of.
Sure.
And other men have to validate that, right, by co-signing on what I'm saying. And if they do, they don't deserve any special privileges or credit for that. And on the other side of the seesaw, you have guys saying, well, most of us would probably die to protect you from a bear. So I don't know why you're saying this extremely abusive thing to us, and we're not happy about it. So it comes down to, do you believe that most men are dangerous, or do you believe that most men are safe? And this woman believes that enough men are dangerous that this meme should be shared everywhere, and men should not have a problem with it if they're not the bad men. So if you have a problem with it, then you're probably one of the bad men. It's like this, what do you call it? Kafka-esque trap, right? Oh, are you complaining about the meme that I shared? Well, I guess you're the problem. And it's like, well, no, maybe I don't like being lumped in with like an extremely small percentage of the population who probably themselves got assaulted by people who look like you. So, but of course that is not on the table. It's just man bad. Do you have a problem with that? Well, you must be one of the bad men. It's a Kafka trap,
Mm-hmm. And also, if you are good, you don't get any reward because that's just being normal.
Men are that's another thing too. Yeah, like men are expected to do this stuff. So like if a bear came and attacked a man, the woman would do nothing because she's not it's not asked of her societally wise.
There's no expectation that she should.
No, there's no expectation she should do anything. So like we can't even make the sort of flip side of that. Because women wouldn't risk their lives to save men, not even in like, I don't know, normal circumstances. Generally, their safety is prioritized. So like you're putting us in a catch-22. Like either a man dies to save you or a man is going to prey on you. So either way, but like if he dies to save you, he's just doing the bare minimum. So you don't deserve anything for that. No medals, no cookies. Right.
Oh man, this whole bear thing, because I used to live in like a wilderness area, right? Mm-hmm. And there was this incident in Port Alice, I believe, right? Because they have a paper mill there, and somebody was like riding his bike to work at the paper mill, and a cougar jumped out and knocked him off his bike and started mauling him. And a guy who was also on his way to work in his pickup truck, pulled over and helped the guy, right, and pulled the cougar off of him, and then picked up the bike and started beating the cougar with the bike, and then when the cougar kind of ran away, and they were kind of like, where'd it go, right? He dragged the guy into the truck, and then they were like, where is it, where did it go? And then when they started driving again, they realized it was actually underneath the truck, and it bolted out from under the truck. It was still there. It was still hungry enough to stick around, right?
Yeah.
And would a woman have done that? I don't know. Maybe I would have, right?
But it's not really about whether or not they would. It's about whether or not we expect it.
Yeah, nobody would have expected me. They would have expected me to like maybe pull over and honk my horn and try and scare the cougar away, right?
But not actually confront it. But yeah, I mean, what Brian is saying is that it's right in the name man. If you want to be a man, you have to protect and provide for others. And if you don't, you're shamed for it. And of course, this completely lacks any acknowledgement of that fact, except to say that if you live up to your expected role as a man, you don't deserve kudos, at the same time as saying that society tells men that they can do whatever they want and not care about women, at the same time as saying that, men are bad, and even though all men should live up to this expectation, they shouldn't get any credit for it. It's like,
yeah,
it's a minefield. It's a rat nest of fuck.
Yeah, really. No, it's no wonder neither of my sons are interested in a relationship.
Yeah, well, men are like, I think in the last 2 years, 10% reduction in how many men are willing to even engage with women on any capacity. That includes at work, asking them directions, where's the bathroom. They just don't. They'll just walk past a woman, get to a man, and talk to him instead.
Yeah.
And I've seen this in my own life too. Like it's getting to be worse and worse and worse. And well, she's got a man, but if she truly believes this, she should choose the bear.
Yeah.
Go live in bear society, right?
Yeah, no, bear country is fun.
Yeah,
it's very exciting at times.
Okay, let's keep.
All right, let's keep going. Here we go. This is the rest of this clip.
Fatherly figure holding an impossibly delicious mug of hot chocolate. I feel like I'm going insane. It's a random man or a random bear.
You are insane.
Questions like, what if the man is nice? What if the man is me? What if I have a gun? What if the man is gay? What if the bear is gay? Are completely irrelevant.
No, they aren't.
So essentially what you're saying.
Okay, a random man and a random bear.
Yeah,
I can tell you firsthand, the random bear is probably not the one you would choose. Probably not.
Okay.
Right? If you've ever been around bears, if you've ever been in bear country, if you've ever had a bear dig up your tulip bulbs from your front garden and fling dirt all over your front door, or tear apart the fence that you have to contain your garbage bins, right? You probably would rather encounter a random man than a random bear.
Well, she encounters random men constantly.
All the time. Unless she's a complete recluse. Like,
all right,
is,
but here's
she
the thing.
A shut-in? Is she a freaking shut-in?
Those men are not people.
Okay, but what she's actually saying is not random man versus random bear. It's basically your stereotype about a man versus your stereotype about a bear. So what you assume
bears
the
are
random
cuddly.
man
Look at that bear suit she's wearing. It looks really cuddly.
You assume
and unthreatening. He even looks like he's smiling.
You assume that the random man is these horrible things, and yet you can look around you and see what the sum total of the random man's actions are in your society. Like, you can see it. Lady, you can see, go outside and take a look at what the random man has created in the world. And
all
you
the
will
houses,
see
all the houses and the
all
fence
the sewer
posts
system,
and the power lines,
the power lines,
and the
the
water
utilities,
mains, and
the justice system that brings men who engage in violence against women to justice and preferentially protects women, and has done so since we've had a codified system of law.
Since Hammurabi,
since Hammurabi. There has been unique legal protections for women. Okay, there have also been expectations and freedoms granted for men to fulfill those expectations, but there have always been unique legal protections for women. That was put in place by who? The people who were responsible for enforcing them. Guess who that was? Men. That is the sum total of the actions of the random man. And you're turning around and saying to the very person that you're beseeching to care about your bullshit and to take care of you, and saying, oh, random man who has constructed the entire world that I live within and enjoy, and has up to this point allowed me to exist unmolested, at least less molested than you have them. Oh, you are more frightening than a bear. Really? Bullshit. Go choose the bear. Go choose bear country. Go choose bear society. Go live in the society built by bears, by the random actions of random bears.
Does anybody remember the guy who went up into like Alaska or something like that? Or maybe it was like the Yukon.
Yeah, he got eaten.
And he decided.
You mean Grizzly Man?
Yeah, Grizzly
he ended
Man.
up getting eaten by strange bears, though.
Well, by strange bears that didn't know him, sure. Random bears.
Yeah.
Right? He made friends with some bears, okay? And then some other bears came along and fucking ate him.
Yeah,
and
random bears.
His friend bears didn't do nothing to stop him.
No. Yeah,
Well,
enjoy the society of bears and the random actions of bears.
I got some Super Chows I should read, but go ahead and finish your point.
No, that is my point. She's talking, when she says the random man, she's talking about her stereotype about men. And
well, yeah, and she hates
if she
all
wants
men.
to understand the vast majority of the actions of the random man, she just has to look outside her home and see what men are doing. Like this, this is, and furthermore, if she's really worried about rape, just keep wearing the bear costume. Well, but don't go to furry conventions,
Oof.
But if she's really worried about it, men manage to exist with the rapiest creatures on the planet, which is human women. Like, they manage to just keep trucking along, keep doing their random and positive shit to improve everything. Meanwhile, they're being preyed upon by the rapiest humans that have ever existed in human history. And possibly, per capita, the rapiest creatures on the planet. I don't know. Rape doesn't really apply to other animals.
Ducks are pretty rapey.
Yeah, ducks are, ducks and human females.
I'm kind of upset that Trump has championed them. Given that they're so
I think it was the geese. They're eating the cats. All right,
no. There was this,
they're eating the pets.
Awesome,
the song.
There was this awesome AI meme, right?
Yeah.
Showed Trump holding a duck, right? Holding it up next to his mouth, right? Like, so that he was talking, right? He was the duck whisperer, whispering in its ear. And you could see him saying, "I love you. I'll protect you. You're safe with me.
I won't let them get to you." All right. I got some Super Chows I should read really quick since you asked people to send them in. Richard Bier gives us $5 and says,
"That's all we get. You put us up to this, and that's all we get is $5."
Wouldn't reciting feminist poetry to a bear constitute animal cruelty or abuse?
Yes.
Also, make sure that someone brings a trampoline to the meetup in Calgary, as well as about 24 pool noodles. Karen, you must get on the trampoline for Terrence Pop. Thank you for that.
I'm not bouncing on no trampoline. Okay, I'm an old bitch now. And Terrence Pop, is he going to be there?
I don't know. I don't think so.
So he just wants to film me bouncing on a trampoline and then send it to Terrence Pop.
Yes, I think so.
Well,
right.
that's
Not
not
doing
happening.
it.
And I'm
All
not
right.
getting in a pool either.
No pool noodles. Well, pool noodles.
Oh no, I'll
What do you
hit
do?
somebody with one, but
Yeah, we'll give Karen a pool noodle to hit people with. How's that?
I
She could
think
just hide
I'll
in the bushes and come out and hit people with pool noodles.
I prefer my mother's cane for that.
Oh God. Yeah, but I don't want to do anything that would get us sued.
Okay, I got a
All right.
shoehorn though.
Next, Super Chow. Great Endurance gave us $10 and said, so she's saying that the male feminists she's friends with might be great ideological allies, but they are not tough enough to handle the bear. But if they would be tough enough to handle the bear, she would choose the bear over them because in that scenario, they would be potentially more dangerous enough for her to get scared. Brian, you could play that soundbite I sent you anytime it seems most. I didn't download it. I'm sorry. I didn't know I was supposed to be doing that. I had to close a bunch of stuff, including Discord, so that I could run this show without my computer like imploding because it's starting to get like really old now. So sweating like Danny Glover.
Uh-oh. Why
Yeah.
are you licking the couch?
So anyway, thanks for the Super Chow. I'm sorry. I'll have to do this later.
Are we
all right,
done this
so
time code or is it still
this
more?
time code? Where are we at? Yeah, that's the end of this one. So I'm jumping ahead to the next one.
Oh God. Thank God.
Yeah, well, don't thank me yet. All right, so I'm gonna uncheck these things and play the next
time codes have we
soundbite.
got done? How many time codes?
We got this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the sixth. Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, we're doing good.
I'm like cracking the whip,
before
but
we get into it, once again, if you want to send us a message, feedthebadger.com/justthetip. And if you want to support our event, I do have a big thank you to give to Anonymous, who put in $1,000 towards the event. Thank you, Anonymous.
wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. Should I play a? Oh, I don't have my soundboard up right now. Thank you. Come again. There you go.
Oh yeah.
I'll just do it myself.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Good news, everyone.
Good news, everyone.
Good
Looks like
news, everyone.
I could potentially pay for Mike to come down. So Dr. Rantzerker Karen. So
Oh,
erotic.
most of the game.
Erotic.
Most of the game.
Erotic.
But,
erotic.
not Hannah. Not Hannah. Not because we don't want her, but because she's sick and also probably can't get the time off.
Yeah, well, all I know is if Mike and Brian are going to both be in Calgary, we are not fucking stopping for cappuccino.
That's a nice throwback.
That's what the pool noodle is for. Any mention of cappuccino, the pool noodle comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Or her sandal.
And I'll use it.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do this.
I'll rub that thing. I'll rub that thing on the concrete real fast to melt it into a fucking shiv. If there's one word about cappuccino.
So here's the same black guy. Also, I think it's the same one. Responding to the bear versus man meme because he actually understands what's actually going on.
Would you rather be stuck in the woods with a woman or a bear? Let me know, because I think, you know what? I think I would rather choose the bear, because at least with the bear's not going to just date me for my money and in the divorce take half my stuff or more.
The worst possible thing you could think of a woman doing to you is
destroying your
into
life
your bank
legally.
account, dude.
What the okay, friend, I have a proposition for you. You give me access to half of your money, and then you can say that you divorced me. How's that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just your money. How dare you have an attachment to the thing that you spent a good portion of your life creating? Like that's practically misogyny.
Yeah.
It's money misogyny that you would have any kind of attachment to your own labor. Well, but also, like, that's not the worst. That's just the most resonant. Like, there's a lot worse, like the woman who slit her partner's throat while they were having sex and continued to have sex and then said, he died while he was inside me, and then dismembered his body and I think buried it. I mean, that's pretty bad. And then there's this other woman who, when her boyfriend said he wasn't in the mood, stabbed him in the crotch and threw bleach all over him. I mean, that's pretty bad. And then there was these two women who basically took one of their vulnerable guy who was like had learning disabilities, who was a neighbor, called him a pedo and stabbed him to death. I mean, that's pretty bad. There's all kinds of bad things that he could have said, but he went with one that is basically socially acceptable and people don't think is really that bad because she just played it off.
Yeah,
this is not something a woman could do to a man and she gets judged for it.
And also I'm kind of annoyed with him for not saying and take my kids and never let me see them again.
He might have. She cut it off. She's the one who edited it.
Yeah.
All right, you want to watch some more of this hateful cringe?
Sure.
Let's
go to the. Is there another time code? Or is this one not done?
This one's got 30 seconds on it.
I've seen so many men try to reverse the bear versus man hypothetical to air out their petty grievances with women, only to inadvertently reveal what a different reality they live in, largely unaffected by the day-to-day precautions women must take for their own safety. I shouldn't have to say.
Okay, stop.
Must take.
No.
Must
you are
take.
safer than men. 1 and 2. Once again, I must reiterate. You are part of the rapiest demographic in all of human history. Women like you use weapons to rape men. Okay? The fact is that everybody's ignorant of that. Go ahead.
Just ignore that, though, for the moment, Alison.
Okay, all right. I'll ignore it.
Okay, my daughter takes the bus to work. Okay? We don't live in a great neighborhood, right? And she lives just a few blocks from us, right? And she takes the bus to work and the bus home, and she leaves for work around 8:30, 9 p.m. and she gets home. I think she gets off work because she starts at 10 and works until 6. So she's taking the bus in the morning. So the morning bus is pretty safe, right? The night bus is not great, and she's been a witness for the police for no less than 4 incidents on the bus, right? And those incidents didn't involve her; they involved other people on the bus, and in 3 of those 4 incidents, the person who was threatening other people and attacking other people was a woman. Okay? And she's not scared. She's not fucking scared. She'll walk home at midnight. She's always walked home at midnight. Like before she started taking the graveyard shifts, she would have to walk home from the bus at midnight. And she would encounter random men, and she would be friendly with them and disarming and charming and whatever. But sorry, I'm going home. I have to head home, right? And she's never felt threatened. She's never had a problem, even when they were hitting on her at midnight, right? Walking down the street. She doesn't. You don't have to live in fear.
No, especially when you look at the actual stats. When you look at the actual stats, you don't have to live in fear because men are manifestly in more danger. And they're not just in more danger from other men. I don't know who these women are who are like raping men at gunpoint, but there's a substantial number of them, and they got to be hanging out somewhere. And, if I were a guy, that would sort of unnerve me, especially since there's no legal recourse.
But nobody knows about that. And
but this is
the thing. Once you realize what the actual objective level of risk is for each sex, right? In terms of being mugged, sexually assaulted, violently assaulted, just attacked randomly by some random person with a pipe who's mentally ill and having a freaking psychotic break or whatever, right? Right. Once you realize those statistics, once you actually absorb that, right, and you understand that it's overwhelmingly men who are the victims of random stranger violence, right? Overwhelmingly men, right? It's like, as a woman, it's extremely freeing, right? You just don't worry, right? And Rachel, because when she had to take the bus to school, which was, I think it was grade 10 when she first started having to take the bus to school, and she wanted to bring something to read on the bus. And the first book, and I had bought her all the kind of girl books that you would get for a grade 10 girl, right? A 15-year-old girl. What was that dragon book? Aragon.
The one they made a movie out of?
Yeah, the Aragon series. I bought her that, and because thinking that well, she likes anime, and she likes manga, and she likes video games, and she likes fantasy, and she likes all that kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. What was the book that she picked? She never actually even cracked any of those Aragon books. What was the book that she picked to read on the bus on her way to school? Gender Inclusive by Adam Jones.
Uh-oh.
Right? And he breaks down, in that book, he breaks down the statistics on violence, particularly random stranger violence between men and women in terms of victimization. Mm-hmm. And she ended up doing her theory of knowledge final project, which was an oral presentation on domestic violence against men. Right? Because it was like she picked that book, and then she picked Guilty Until Proven Innocent, I think it was called. It was about the Duke Lacrosse.
Oh yeah.
False rape accusation, right? And she picked that one as her second book, and I was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, be a normal kid, right? Like, be a normal girl. Read this freaking dragon book I bought you. I bought you the whole set. But no, she was reading she was absorbing all of this stuff, and she's not scared. She's not scared of anything. I mean, she's had situations when, yes, we can hear you, Alison. She's had situations where the store that she's working at, that they're getting set up for the grand opening, still under construction, and there's a dude walking around with a taser, and she's just like, that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay. But the upshot is that if you know the stats, you aren't afraid. But here's the other thing. I have brought this up to women who profess to be deeply afraid of men. And that doesn't seem to, what they do is they end up arguing that the stats are wrong, not that they no longer need to be afraid of men. So I have chosen them. I've said, okay, open this door and you no longer have to be afraid of men. And they've shut the door in my face and say, no, I'd actually prefer to at least, I guess, pretend to be afraid of men now. Because once you know the truth.
I think it's a hormonal thing, Alison, honestly.
So they're just afraid and they want an excuse for it.
Yes. They're just
anxious and they want
women.
I know leftism and liberalism and that kind of thing in men is extremely linked to testosterone levels, right? If you're low testosterone, you as a man, right, you're prone to high levels of apprehension, high levels of moodiness, emotional instability, low confidence, low energy, and being being just kind of, you got ants in pants syndrome, restless, right? Like just not happy, not content. I mean, like you can, and if you look at liberalism versus, or progressivism versus conservatism, right? Conservatism, okay, high testosterone men gravitate towards conservatism because they're in a good mood, regardless of their conditions, right? Because their testosterone levels are high enough that, you know, like they feel competent and they feel confident and they feel like they can get through things. They feel like they can overcome. They feel like their locus of control is more internal rather than external, right? And they are not moody, not distressed, not depressed, not anxious, right? And so, I mean, what do you need to change? Everything's fine. Even though I'm going through a big bump, right, in my life, you know, like we don't need to change the whole system. I just need to get my shit together, right? That's what a high testosterone man feels like. And so, but with liberal women, right? And they have shown in research that when you give women with low libido, right, who go into their doctors for treatment, these are observational studies, right? You give them testosterone patches to increase their libido. They also tend to report a boost in confidence, greater emotional stability, right? Lower levels of apprehension. They don't seem to have such high anxiety about how they look. Like they might be growing a mustache, but they don't care, right? Okay, and all of these things, right? It's just like they're just not on edge and concerned and upset, easily upsettable, and all of that stuff. And they're more confident, and also they've done studies on women where they give them testosterone or a placebo, and they found that the women, there was no correlation between aggression and whether you got the testosterone. There was none at all, right? The correlation was between who thought they got the testosterone and who became more aggressive.
Okay, so let's just assume that this is the case, that women tend to be more anxious, which is my experience.
Oh, yeah, no, that's like
with people with low testosterone tend to be more anxious. We are in a society that's choosing to make them more anxious. Like, is that not sort of itself kind of abusive?
Oh,
like
yeah,
continuing to indulge
Alison,
neuroticism?
Alison, we are literally in a situation where there is a disorder that can have onset just before or during puberty that makes a child confused about their gender. Okay? And this can be extremely distressing. And we have 2 courses of action we could take. Oh, actually 3. We could, 1, leave it alone, and 85% of the time that confusion will resolve by the time they end puberty, right? Number 2, we can block puberty, the natural cure, okay, and then start gender transition cross-sex hormone therapy and completely complicate the entire rest of their lives, including sterilizing them, okay? Or 3, we could consider giving them sex-affirming hormones. So we could consider giving gender-confused boys testosterone and gender-confused girls estrogen, and which is the only one that we don't do? That third one.
Yeah.
Right? And increasingly, we're not doing the first one either, just leaving it alone and letting it resolve on its own, right? So don't try to make any kind of fucking sense out of any of this shit.
That's a good point. There's no point to trying to make sense out of it. We just want to embrace dysfunction for some reason.
This dysfunction
woman
is
who was
$2 million rage.
2 million subscribers, and she's just pushing more dysfunction. And again, this is all bullshit. Women are safer than men when it comes to random violence, and apparently there aren't much less safe than men when it comes to sexual violence because they do it too. So it's like this is an entirely constructed fear that you don't need to have. You don't need to have in your life and let it deteriorate your sense of well-being. And yet they have chosen it, and this woman continues to push it. And then they call me the misogynist. Yeah. What are you pushing? What kind of fucked up drug are you pushing on all women when you continue to buy into or to feed into their fears about the world, which are illegitimate? They and I know that they'll say something like, well, it's other men hurting other men. Yeah. Male criminals prefer to target other men, even to a certain degree, rapists.
Yep.
They prefer to target other men. Why? Because even criminals think women are in a class on their own and should be protected.
Yep.
Because the random man, that is one of the most essential characteristics of the random man, is that he probably wants to protect and provide for women as a function of his community. And part of that is all of the things that we described before: building, sewers. That is a function of the random man's desire to protect and provide for his community and in specific women, right? So you're not in danger. I mean, you are in some danger, but you're not in more danger.
You're always in some danger, but
yeah. Okay, so let's finish this. I can see that we got engaged, Brian. We got engaged.
Well, I wanted to say something, but I wanted to wait until you guys were done. So I want to go back just a teeny bit, and I want to point something out.
Reality they live in, largely.
Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit more. Here we go.
Hypothetical to air out their petty grievances with women, only to inadvertently reveal what a different reality they live in, largely unaffected by the day-to-day precautions women must take for their own safety.
All right, so I wanted to say something about that. We do live in different realities, and this goes back to the thing that I've been saying for a while. Women like this are so incredibly safe. They have no idea what the world is like. And because of that, they find new things to bitch about and they complain about them. It's the Tocqueville paradox, again, revealing itself. There is no one safer than a woman like this. She has and she's surrounded by simps that look out for her at every turn. And yet she thinks that because the world itself, she is so shielded that she can't even perceive of a reality where there is legitimate danger from nature. This is why she's saying, I choose the bear, because she thinks of bears as like the fucking Winnie the Pooh cartoon or something she saw in a zoo, not actually put her on an island in the middle of nowhere with nothing and watch what happens. Yeah, a plushie bear, a Care Bear.
A plushie on one of the plushies on her shelf. That's what bears are to her.
Well, I'm
women
just curious.
Women like this are completely divorced from reality. No.
She's never had to run from one. I have. Right? And my ex has. Right? We've had to run from one. And I was like 5 months pregnant at the time.
Yeah. This is the problem. I just want to say this.
Yeah.
Women like this have it's not even really about the bear. She has no ability to appreciate the world she lives in because everything is so comfortable that she has to find new things and make shit up to complain about because she, in fact, has a problem. Like women like this that feel fear think that their fear has to be justified even if it's completely irrational, and the men around them allow this to happen and don't just say, you know, you're an insane moron, right? Like that, like this is what I mean.
Yeah.
This is why this perpetuates. This is why she has 2 million subscribers, because there are 2 million cunts that are just as terrified and safe as she is. And because they're paranoid and because they're scared of everything, they think that it must be valid. Like there must be some truth to it. And it's just not the case. You are not unsafe. I mean, and the thing is too, you can't live in a world where everything is perfect. I'm sorry, but that's not in this lifetime. There is no such thing as a perfectly safe environment that is also simultaneously somewhat free. You're either going to have one or the other, and you have to decide. So, like, no ability to appreciate what they have. Like this, people who take their life for granted, I can't. It just upsets me. You know, after everything I've been through, I can't stand to see people take life for granted like that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let me point it out. She lives in comfort because of the choices of the random man. And now she is condemning the random man as worse than a bear.
Yes.
Like, think about that. Like, she exists in a world constructed by the choices of the random man. But the random man is worse than a bear. It's so delusional.
Okay, I don't say worse. I mean, bears aren't bad. I mean, like they're not morally bad. They're just like interested in eating and, you know,
eating people sometimes. Okay,
sometimes,
can we go to the next?
Because but it's like you know, like more dangerous than a bear. Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely fucking not. Like this is a woman who's never stepped out into nature, right? You can tell. You can tell.
Somebody's saying that we're inaudible next to Brian.
What?
Maybe
what do you mean next to Brian?
Yeah, you, like your sound
compared
is higher
to you,
compared to Brian. Yes.
Oh,
okay, maybe up us a bit.
I'll just turn myself down a little bit. It's okay.
Yeah, it's because Brian is from Chicago. And
I'm a Puerto Rican from Chicago. We're loud, so
you
I'm
project.
sorry.
They project. Whereas us Canadians, we tend to.
I just want to say to Karen that I know that I think the mistake of the bear meme is to address it literally, because you could say they could have made this anything else. They could have said a man or a shark. They could have said a man or an alligator. They could have said a man or a fucking, you know, like feral possum, and it would have been the same. It's all about dehumanizing men. It's not really about the animal. So if you get too caught up in like, well, here are all the like Lindsay did that. She was like, well, if it's a black bear, I'm like, that's not the point. Like what you're what they're saying is men are bad. Period. Like that's what this is. That's the money shot. It's not. It could be, you know, a fucking. It could be a man or a completely like, you know, a freaking. I don't know, hellhound from from Acheron, and they'd be like, oh, I'd rather be with the hellhound. Like I'd rather be with like a freaking Balrog than a man. You know.
Okay, yeah, but okay. So while you're there making friends with the bear and your furnace breaks, he's probably not going to fix it for you.
Yeah, but these women are also the same women that think that everything just kind of runs on its own and there's nothing behind it. Like that's...
there's no, it's like one of those Hollywood sets from old westerns, right? With just like the fake storefronts and shit.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No. And everything, you know, there's like some goddess with like 18 arms pulling levers and shit, making everything run. And and it just happens by magic. And you just wish it into existence, right? Like when you turn on your tap and the water doesn't come out, that's like a complete catastrophe, right? Because you can't make coffee, right? And like, who comes to your rescue?
Well, she doesn't get that. Like, she's like, she lives in a creation of the choices of the random man. It like that's where she exists.
Not just the choices, the actions, the actions, and the sacrifices.
There's a reason why I use choices. She lives in a world constructed by the actions of the random man, and yet she is afraid of the actions of the random man.
Yeah. No, and
ridiculous.
I'm just like, I know how to spackle a wall, right? To how to put like drywall putty on a crack in the wall and things like that, right? I don't know how to make drywall putty. I don't know how to freaking like actually make that. I don't know how to mine and extract those minerals and refine them and like combine them into like drywall mud, right? I don't know how to do any of that, right? And it's like all of these fucking things that we enjoy, right, are handed to us through the thousands of years of male innovation, mostly male innovation, right? And I'm just like,
yeah, that's the actions of random men. That's what she's condemning.
I know, and there was this historian who said, like pottery was invented by women, right? And then men kind of took it over. And I'm like, yeah, because they industrialized it. They industrialized it.
Somehow this is men's fault.
Yeah, they turned it from like a lone woman forming a bowl out of clay in her own home, right? And hardening it in a fire in her backyard, right? For her family, right? And they turned it into like, let's build a shop where we can make a whole bunch of bowls and we can make them like mostly similar, like very similar to each other, and we can make way more of them at one time, and we won't have to burn so much wood to like fire the kiln and all of that, right? And it's like, okay, so they took a good idea from a woman who was like, well, I don't have a gourd, right? So I'm going to make a bowl out of clay. Okay, well, that's fine. I'm hand sewing. I'm hand stitching a garment. Well, but then a man came along and said, you know what? I think I could make a machine that could do that, and it would have a pedal, and you would just keep pumping the pedal, and the needle would go up and down, right? And there'd be like 2 threads, and it would actually make like stronger seams because there are 2 threads for every seam, and I could probably do that, and I could patent it, and I could make a lot of money, and I could really support my wife and kids on that money, right? And it's like, okay. And then all of a sudden, women didn't have to hand sew all the fucking garments for their families, right? Like, honestly, part of me thinks that this is just fucking boredom, right? Boredom and letting their minds wander, right? Mm-hmm. Because they don't have anything fucking better to do. They have no rugs to beat. They have no socks to darn. They have no freaking clothes to wring out in a laundry mangle, right? They have no diapers to fucking boil on the stove, the coal stove, right? They don't got nothing to do except think of reasons why they're hard done by.
Yeah, I've actually, we talked about that. What was it?
The Tocqueville paradox, right? The idle hands of the devil's playground.
Or the devil's playground. But the other thing is that what I've noticed and what I'm thinking I'm going to propose is, I think what they're complaining about is not the presence of men, but the absence of men. I think what this woman is essentially saying is, I don't have a man that I feel protects me. She may have a man.
If he's a feminist, then
she may have a man, but I think that what she's talking around, if this is genuine and this isn't just a huge paycheck to spout this nonsense, and I would not, you know what? I wouldn't disbelieve that, because I think that this nonsense has a function in our world in driving the levers, shall we speak. I won't get into it because I need to think about it to clarify it in a way that people can understand. But if that's not the case, I think that there is something in her that, because she's a woman, because women have this kind of emotional, this fear, and they constantly try to justify it by saying that they're more in danger than men, or that men don't have to, men have petty concerns, they're not afraid. Bullshit. Men do have to take care of themselves. Like, if you actually ask men, they do have to think about, can I take this guy? Am I in danger? And all of that kind of stuff. They just don't tell anybody about it. Right?
Yeah.
So they say this stuff because they are nervous, because women have lower risk tolerance. And in the absence of feeling protected by the men in their lives, that becomes an obsession. Right? I mean, that's one thing. That's one thing that I will agree with Lasta about, which is this. We had him on. He's a conservative who says that women need to be, protected. I think that he's at least onto something on that. I don't agree with his methods, but I think these women are suffering from an absence of men's protection, and it's driving them nuts. And in conjunction,
I don't think they're suffering from an absence of men's protection. Right, because they are the most protected.
No, I mean, I know. What I mean by that is immediate, like somebody there in their lives who feels.
Yeah, okay, that's why she should get a fucking dog. Okay, shut the fuck up, dog. Can you stop?
Okay. Do we have?
I want to read the. I have another super chat. Should we go to the patron show? Let me see.
How many more times?
Yeah. There's like four. There's four left. No, this was the beginning. No, this is the beginning of one. And if we include this one, there's four left. No, this is the beginning of one. So I just moved to this point.
We didn't go through all of what she says the petty complaints are of men.
I could go back. There was like 10 seconds left. No. Okay. It wasn't much. Remember, she's also a comedian that tells jokes. So
so far I haven't heard one, but okay.
Yeah, I got a super chow. I got to read it. Okay, so Richard Beer gives us $5 and says, "I wonder if her and women like her have the mental image of Rupert in the same way that Stewie is what you mean to say in Family Guy imagines his teddy bear. Rupert, I just saw her tits. All right. Do you want to watch another bit, or do you want to go into the patron show and do the rest of this?
I think that I will say, Karen, we'll be going to the Discord. So if you want to join us in finishing that, we got 4 time codes left. I'm guessing that there's no big Shyamalan twist. But
no.
Okay.
The big Shyamalan
it only gets worse from here, actually.
Oh,
the big Shyamalan twist is that she was the rapist all along. Okay, I shouldn't say that over. Like, she was part of the rapiest group of people all along. It was her. She was the rape bear. Okay, grape bear. All right, so
grape bear.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Bears actually do like grapes.
Huh? I didn't know that.
They like anything sweet.
Feedthebadger.com/justthetip if you want to send us a message after this show is over, and we'll respond to it in the next reasonably similar topic show. And so once again, feedthebadger.com/justthetip to send us those messages and a tip. And I do again want to give a shout out to Anonymous for that $1,000 support to our meetup. Thank you, Anonymous.
Thank you so much.
Looks like I am going to be able to bring Mike down. And also, if you want to help out there, go to feedthebadger.com/events. I'll probably be doing an email pretty soon, sending it out, and also a announcement that we're going to put out on Karen's channel, which I've recorded. And yeah, now we're going to go to the patron only show. If you want to join us for that, please go and get a subscription at feedthebadger.com/subscribe. Just $5 gets you all the additional content that we do, including some analysis of fiction that I've been doing with the writers group, which is, they think it's very valuable. It's a lot of fun. All right. So feedthebadger.com/justthetip to send us a tip and a message. Feedthebadger.com/events to support our events, which may or may not include Kevin. because we all love her and her howling.
Oh,
and
yeah, no, we don't. We don't.
Subscribe if you want to join us. All right, back to you, Brian.
All right. Well, if you guys like this video, please smash like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today. You can find a link to the video in the description if you want to look at it yourself. And please, please, please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you so much for coming on today's episode of the Rantzerker, and we'll talk to you all in the next video.
Are machines, dude. Okay, they are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.